have a bustle in the back of this, so it's making this uncomfortable to sit on, although it feels kind of like a pillow. All right, okay. It's just the bustle. Okay. That feels better. Okay.
Can you get Cab Calloway on it?
That's my patty waist sugar.
I'm sorry, gambling is going on in here.
By the way, how is your father?
But I want to know, does it bother you?
Hi guys and dolls, Bad Girls here again. We are meeting on a non-coffee date, as usually our cinema coffees are on Friday, but this being Thanksgiving, thought I'd do a mini sip, a mini Thanksgiving edition of Cinema Coffee. To the Break Room Classic Film fans, it's tea time for a coffee break. It is a little different in here. We are not in our regular spot that we have our cinema coffees. If you have followed me for a while, this will look a little bit familiar, and if you haven't, I will fill you in. I am joined today with my special guests, my old-time friends, pun intended. These are some of the props that were used when I was doing old-time radio programs once a week with my friends. My dad, he created these props for me. I did the paint, but my dad created these props for me. They were initially created to use for a theatrical production that we did for a college, and I was able to implement my love of old-time radio into the show, into the production. Have been a fan of old-time radio for as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid. Edgar Bergen, Charlie McCarthy is probably what got me hooked into old-time radio. That's my first radio memory. Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, the Jack Benny program. I mean, Burns and Allen. I can sit here and name all of the old-time radio shows that I am in love with. But really had started listening to them so much, and you start memorizing them, and I wanted for a long time to put on old-time radio shows, like recreate radio shows with my friends. But me being a loner in the classic Hollywood, the golden age of radio, the golden age of Hollywood, with people of my own age, that was pretty much like a single-handed thing. I knew that I was going to just have to do myself, but was able to finally implement it into a show. And instead of recreating some of the old-time radio, like printing out transcripts that I could find of old-time radio programs, just thought, why not try to write them myself? It's been a while since I've counted how many I've written altogether. I wrote for the show that we were doing. I think it's anywhere between 80 and 100 that I wrote. We did them for a course of about 2 years after we did the show for the theatrical production. We carried it on for about 2 years. And in those 2 years, I was able to write original stories because I was heavily influenced by two things that really struck me to want to do an old-time radio original show, for me to write the scripts and the stories myself. One being, and you're not going to be able to find the connection to this, but I'm going to explain it, Johnny Mercer's Accentuate the Positive, which you would think, now how does that make you want to do old-time radio? Well, I listen to that kind of music at times when I work out, and was just in a Johnny Mercer mode, and I kept listening to him as I work out, and like my mind is like a stage up here. It's constantly thinking up stuff and daydreaming things as I'm listening to music. And I could really see sort of like an old-time radio setting, like on the stage, and you have the performers come out and sing. Much like if you're familiar with the Command performance clip of Bob Hope, when Betty Hutton comes out, Lana Turner, Judy Garland, and Judy and Betty separately, they sing. And a lot of times they would have singers or performers or entertainers come on to the old-time radio show as like sort of like an intermission between acts or between the comedy, as a break. Like Dorothy Lamour would come on and sing. And so I kept seeing that and was like, gosh, I would love to do my own original old time radio show instead of just recreating what has already been done, just to write them myself. So it was Johnny Mercer's Accentuate the Positive that sparked that idea, and it is my favorite version. I mean, he wrote it, but it's my favorite. Him singing it, I'll put it that way, is my favorite one to listen to. Nothing against the Andrews Sisters, I do enjoy them, but Johnny Mercer, that's my favorite one to listen to. The second old time radio inspiration that I got was from Fred Allen. Listening to King for a Day, that's probably my favorite Fred Allen episode, where Jack Benny comes on and it's like the frenemy thing, the feud between Jack Benny and Fred Allen continues. It was something about listening to Fred Allen. I enjoyed listening to Portland come on, which was his wife, as the little girl, and going through Fred's Alley. So listening to his old time radio shows, I wanted to build an old time radio show that was similar to that kind of style as Fred's Alley or the Fred Allen show. So I created my own original characters, and all of them have some kind of take from an actual old time radio character from Bill Goodwin. He was like my Henry London. Jerry Morgan I had created was sort of like my Don Wilson, for the announcer. So I had people that I pulled from old time radio shows that I used as inspiration for my characters. I had Dennis and Rachel Hagen. They were more like the Bickersons with Don Amici and Frances Langford. Myself, Betty Gray. I guess I was modeling myself after like the starlet, the actress, Marilyn Maxwell, Dorothy Lamour. That's kind of where Betty Gray's character came from. So Mason Davis, Pike Anderson. Now Pike Anderson was actually modeled not after an old time radio person, but after Betty Schaefer from Sunset Boulevard, the script reader. That's who Pike Anderson was modeled after. Mason was kind of modeled after Dennis Day in sort of a roundabout way. So everyone had an inspiration that I had from old time radio and I pulled into the show. Well, after about a year or so, I started writing the shows because every week we would play the recurring characters, same characters every week. I started to transition that to my other kind of love for old time radio, and that's like the dramatics or the films that we hear on radio from like LUX Radio Theater, which is my favorite Screen Actors Guild. This is the Academy Awards. I do enjoy that one. Even suspense. I wanted to create those kind of shows, like write those kind of scripts for the show. So we were still playing our characters, but our characters had now entered the world of radio, where our characters were playing radio characters, like Inception, a dream within a dream within a dream. So of those 2 years, I was able to do 2 Christmas ones, although the Christmas webisodes, they were us playing our regular characters as who we played every week. But the one Thanksgiving webisode that I wrote was us playing characters, our characters playing characters. So that is what I'm going to bring you today, a story of hope. And this is my actual copy, my director's copy. I always have everyone's name written on it in my director's copy. The name of the show is A Day in the Life of, and it went from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, following the cast through various points of the years, through the 30s and the 50s. So this is A Day in the Life of Hollywood 1930s, a story of hope. I also have my applause sign, which I'll raise for applause, just like old time radio programs would do. And also another special guest I have is the mannequin, what's on the mannequin. So last week I asked you guys which of the 4 sketch to garment you guys would like to see, and it was split down the line. So I will have one today, which is Twilight. That was one of the ones that was voted on. And the second one that got equal amount of votes was Keys, which I will bring you this Friday during our normal Cinema Coffee chat, as well as we're also going to talk about the coffee. My mail delivery this week, I told you guys I was going to update you with the Laughing Man. That was my first time trying it. It was delivered this week, so I tried it. And we will talk a little bit more about that on Friday. But this is Twilight. This top was not for the skirt, but I have already featured the top during our Josephine Baker week because it was the banana skirt, and That was used for a show, and I was not about to let anyone come out with no top on. So I pulled the top that went with Twilight and had her wear it with the banana skirt. So I've already featured the top that goes with this skirt. So this is another top that I had created for something else, for a garment called Notorious. That, yes, Notorious, it's Alfred Hitchcock, it is what you think. Not really a backstory to this, other than this was probably responsible for me not wanting to do garments for prom anymore. Was able to talk to a class about what it is that I do, some high school students about what it is that I do, and was met with a lot of girls who wanted me to do their prom dresses. I had not done that part yet. You know, as I told you guys last Cinema Coffee we met, I was creating clothes for a show, for a production, not necessarily to be mass produced, but sure, why not? This became a problem because it's just a little different with certain teenagers, I suppose, with certain ideas of what we want, and then it was constantly changing. And this particular garment I had showed to the class, and she wanted this specifically, told me what colors she wanted. I did that, sewed up everything, kept showing her pictures, she kept coming for fittings, and everything was going smoothly. Oh my gosh, I loved it. So when I was finally finished with it, she came in and she's like, I love it, and she was just so overwhelmed, like she was going to get emotional. And about 10 minutes after she left the fitting, because all I had to do now was put just final touches on it, like hook and eyes and just really the little small things, because it was complete. And I was like, you can pick it up this weekend. Received a text message about 10 minutes later, and she wanted to know if a lot of it could be changed, and I just didn't know what happened. That was almost the beginning and end of my career of doing prom dresses for anyone. That just really, I had no words. But at the same time, I have been met with a lot of girls who knew exactly what they wanted and were very wonderful to work with. But it's just the overwhelming, I've went through prom, I know how it is. I'm picky myself, so again, I know how it is. But it's a lot for the person on the other end. So that's the backstory to Twilight. So tonight we're going to do a story of hope. If you are familiar with script reading, each page represents about a minute. So this one is 15 pages, which is what I try to roughly type out each week, anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. But every now and again, I would do like one that was a little bit longer, molding those more after like the hour-long radio programs that you listen to. So we're gonna do a story of hope. So grab whatever it is that you drink, get your coffee mug and curl up, or get whatever blanket that you curl up in. And I'm going to read you my original story, a story of hope for this Thanksgiving week. Okay, starting out, it was Betty Gray, so I'm going to do a little bit of a different take in some spots. I'm going to cut out the introductions of all the cast of characters, because it's just going to be I reading to you everyone's character. But it does start off with Betty Gray, who was I played Betty Gray. And I know this top part so much after saying it so many times over the course of 2 years. I could say it as an entrance just walking through the door. So this is actually the door jam. This is actually the door. So bear with me. This is the door, and I have on boots, but this chair is taller than I am, so I don't know. Okay, I think I can. I don't know if I'll be in frame though. Okay, I think I can do it. Hopefully I'll be in frame. And I feel like since I'm my own one-woman show here, I don't know if I can hit the applause. So I think I will just leave the applause sign up here, being my own one-woman show, and I'll just edit in some applause when I'm editing the video. Betty. From Hollywood, California, Dominique Revue Productions brings you classic entertainment in a modern world done in a vintage manner, with a cast that's keeping the golden age of radio alive in A Day in the Life of Hollywood 1930s. As the holidays are upon us and we are in the thick of one such day today, the cast of A Day in the Life of would like to share with you a story, much like the golden age of radio used to do when shows such as LUX Radio Theater, Radio Reader's Digest, Mercury Theater, Command Performance, Campbell's Playhouse, and others used to bring you a comedy, drama, or adventure piece starring some of Hollywood's greatest actors of their time, from Charles Boyer to Cary Grant, Norma Shearer to Rita Hayworth. We now would like to bring you such a piece on this holiday evening. Tonight we bring you A Story of Hope, an original story written by Dominique Revue. This story tonight puts a spotlight on three sisters, one sister in particular who just wishes something wonderful would happen for them, proving that when you wait for something, ask for something, have faith in something long enough, maybe, just maybe, it will. So, without further hindrance, we give you A Story of Hope. Leela. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leela Peters. I am the third of three Peters sisters. There are my older sisters, Sarah Peters, who seems to be both sister and mother to me, and our older sister, Emily Peters, who seems to be sister and parent and all. I would like to share with you my story. It all started one day in the month of November. The leaves had fallen, the streets were covered in gold and bronze, and the laughter of children who knew nothing of the reality of the world their parents were facing, laughed in their yards to play. The same could not be said of my sisters and I, for we all knew too well the true realities of life. We didn't have the luxury of our parents helping us through the times that passed, but in their own way, they were more help to us than we'd ever know. The house we lived in was a gift from them, in which they worked their whole lives to achieve. And for that very important goal, I, and my sisters, are everlasting grateful. For if it weren't for their outlook to the future of their children, I may not be able to share this story with you now. During those times, the depression seemed not only like it was right next door, but it was living with us, right in the house. Leela. Emily! Emily. Yes, Leela, in here. Leela. Anything come for me? Emily. No, like what? A telegram, message, mail, phone call, delivery? Leela. No, nothing quite like that. Emily. Then what, darling? What is it, Leela? You've been asking if anything has come for you for weeks now, and every week it's the same answer to my same question. What are you looking for? I'm your sister. I want to help if I can. Leela. I know, Emily. It's very nice of you. I appreciate it. You and Sarah both. Emily. Then what is it, Leela? Are you in any kind of trouble? Leela. No, but I'm going to be if I don't clean Sarah's dress before she gets in. Emily. Leela, what happened? The back of your skirt is perfectly soiled. Leela. You mean Sarah's skirt is perfectly soiled. She let me wear it today to work, and on my way home someone ran me over in the street with their bicycle. Emily. Well, get it off and we'll clean it up. Leela. Poor Sarah. She's going to have an epoxy if she comes in to see her new dress ruined. Emily. Poor Sarah, poor you. If poor Sarah finds the dress she brought back from Paris all done in, she might do you the same. Took her 8 years to save up every dime of her pay for that trip to Paris. Heaven knows how she managed to save for a dress. Come home, you ask to wear her brand new dress, and she hands it over for you to wear firsthand, never worn. Leela. She's a good sister. She's never wanted anything for herself. I was so happy when she was able to get away. That was the only thing in life she ever wanted, even if it was only for a short while. Emily. She'll be an evil sister if she sees this, and for a long while. Sarah. Emily, Leela, anyone here? Emily. Uh-oh, better rush upstairs and take this off. Lay it in my room and I'll take care of it when you come back downstairs. Leela. Right. You're a wonderful sister too, Emily. Emily. All right, enough of that. Hurry up. Sarah. Hi, Emily. Emily. Oh, hello, Sarah. Sarah. Where's Leela? Emily. Oh, she's upstairs. She came in rushed and wanted to take a bath before supper. Sarah. Hey, has she been feeling okay? Emily. Far as I know. What do you mean? Sarah. Well, she's been seeming a little mopey, I suppose. A little quiet, more quiet than usual. Emily. If situations don't change around here, I'm afraid we'll all be having mopey faces. I don't know how much longer I can put off that light bill, and the phone is beginning to seem like a luxury we won't be able to keep. Sarah, so what? We had to walk to the drugstore to use the phone before. Who needs a phone anyway? It'll give those old ladies across the street something to gossip about when they see us running back and forth from the drugstore. Emily, you'd like that, I'm sure. Sarah, Mother never cared for them. I suppose I don't either. They spend more time sitting on their porch gossiping about their neighbors than they do fussing at each other. But what of Leela? Is the kid doing all right? It isn't healthy for a girl to stay locked up in a room all night. Emily, it's not like we have any extra cash lying around the house to go out. Sarah, no, but she could take a walk around the block with George and I. Emily, what fun would that do for her? Sarah, well, you never know who you'll meet on a late night stroll. Besides, what's George to me? I've known him since we were little kids. He's never taken a notice in me or I in him, other than someone to hang around with when there's no one else to hang around. If anything good was going to happen, it would have happened already. Hey, why the interest in me? I'm talking about Leela. Emily, well, she keeps asking me if there's anything come for her, but I don't know what it is. Sarah, oh, here, Emily, let me get that. These dishes are more than you can carry with that pot still in your hand. Emily, thanks, Sarah. I was sure dinner was going to be late today. The job held me over a full 30 minutes. Thought I'd missed the bus home for sure. But I can't complain. The fact all three of us have steady jobs right now is nothing short of a miracle. Sarah, even if that old boss of yours underpays you, no overtime, he keeps you held over there late at least 4 nights a week, and no mention of thanks to go along with it. Emily, speaking of, what brings you home so early? Sarah, figured I'd try to pick up a little extra cash. Agnes asked me if I could help her out over the store. I came home right after work at the bookshop and told George we'd have to pick another night to go out. Gosh, Emily, I'm broke now as the day I was born. Not a penny to my persons. Do you think that was careless of me to take that trip? Emily, erase it out of your mind, Sarah. We had this talk before you left and when you came back. Since ever I've known you, that's all you could ever talk about. Where you found out about Paris is anyone's guess. Mama used to say you learned to say Paris before you could say Papa. Now I don't want to hear any more about it. Leela, hello, Sarah. Sarah, hi, Leela. Look at you. You're in a hype of a mood. What's brought this up? Uh-oh, my dress. Leela Peters, if you've ruined my dress... Leela, no, wait, Sarah. How did she know? Sarah, Leela, how could you? Emily, it's no wonder she caught on. You came down here grinning like a chess cat from ear to ear. Sarah just mentioned she hadn't seen you happy for weeks. Come to think of it, neither have I. Sarah, Leela, really? What did I lend you this dress for, if you were just going to go out and have it ruined? And where am I going to get the money to have it fixed? Oh, I should have known not to take that trip. It was a waste of money. Emily, a waste of money, my eye. Leela, oh, I'm sorry, Sarah. Honestly, I am. Sarah, a lot of good that's going to do me now. Look at this dress. Emily, now, Sarah. If you feel that way, you should have never loaned her the dress. Leela didn't do it deliberately. She was run over on the way home from work. Sarah, run over? Did someone get the police? Leela, no, it wasn't anything like that. A boy, a man, someone ran me down with their bicycle when I was crossing the street. Sarah, I'm so sorry, Leela. I just looked at my... Oh, what am I thinking? Are you all right? Leela, yes. Scraped my legs a little bit, but I'm all right. Funny. My legs look fine now. Sarah, who was it? Joey McKenzie? He's always flying around town like he's express delivery. Leela, no, it was a motorcycle. I think. I didn't see his face. Emily, a motorcycle? You didn't tell me that. Honey, you just said a bicycle. Sarah, you mean this fly off the handle didn't stop? Leela, well... Sarah, what did the bike look like? Leela, Emily, wait before you answer that, Leela. You know Sarah's temper. It's harder than Clark Gable on screen. She'll have every cycle put in the middle of the street and set on fire just on suspicion. Sarah, well, I should. A maniac riding on wheels, endangering our baby sister. Emily, calm down, Sarah, calm down. She isn't a baby anymore, and you're not a prize fighter. Leave that to James Cagney. Sarah. Well, he has a sister too, doesn't he? Emily. I'm sure that makes no difference, Sarah. Sarah. Oh, yes, it does. I'm going out and find that character. Emily. Who? James Cagney? Sarah. Oh, you're funny. Leela. But Sarah. Leela. She doesn't even know what the bike looks like. I don't even know what the bike looks like. I didn't get a good look at it. Emily. Just let her go. Leave it to Sarah. She'll find out all right. Voice. Hiya, Sarah. Sarah. Hiya, Johnny. Hey, you! Is that your bike outside? Paul. Is something wrong? Sarah. Say, what do you mean knocking down young girls in the middle of the street? Paul. With all due respect, miss, you seem to be standing just fine, and we're not in the middle of the street. We're standing in a drugstore at a soda fountain. Sarah. Not in a... Say, are you cracked? Don't be so smart. You knocked over my baby sister earlier this afternoon. Not only did you ruin a perfectly good, brand new dress, more importantly, you ran over my sister. Paul. Is the baby all right? Sarah. Baby. There you go with that smart stuff again. Paul. Listen, I'm sorry, miss, really I am. How much to replace the dress? Sarah. Replace the dress? Look here, mister. You knocked down my kid's sister. Never mind about the dress. Now, I don't know how you do things where you're from, but we're no run-of-the-mill setup here. You start knocking down people in the street, let alone my sister, you and I have a very serious problem. Paul. Is there anything I can do? Sarah. Well, you can start by coming along with me to apologize to my sister. Hear from her what you can do. And if she says nothing, she'll hear from me. Sarah. All right, brother, in you go. Sarah. Emily, Leela, that man's here again. You just wait here. Emily. Sarah, is that you? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had... Sarah, don't tell me. Sarah. Then I won't. Just get Leela down here. Oh, there you are, Leela. Leela, meet... What was your name? Paul. Paul. Sarah. Yeah, Paul. Paul, meet my sister Leela, who is the lady in question, and our older sister Emily. Paul. How do you do? Emily and Leela. Hello. Emily. Leela, why you look... You're as pale as a bucket. What's the matter with you? Sarah. He won't hurt you none, Leela. We'll make sure of that. I just asked Paul here to come by and personally apologize to running you down in the street this afternoon. Emily. Maybe we should leave these two alone, Sarah. Sarah. Are you kidding? Emily. Come on, public enemy number one. Cagney's waiting for you outside. Sarah. Well, if you need us, Leela, don't bother to knock. We'll be right in the kitchen, peeping through the keyhole. Leela. Sit down, Mr. Paul. Just call me Paul. Leela. Mr. Paul? Paul. No, mister. Just Paul. Leela. All right. Paul. Paul. You live here with your sisters? Leela. Yes. Paul. Alone? Leela. Yes. Paul. Mother, father left you the house? Leela. Yes. In the street earlier, you meant to, that is, you tried to... Paul. Get your attention? Yes, Leela, I did. You've been waiting for me, haven't you, Leela? Leela. Paul. 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 I've come, Leela, just as you asked. Leela. Not as I expected. The bicycle. How could you... Paul. Different forms of flight. You didn't see any bike, did you, Leela? Leela. No, I didn't. I told Emily I didn't. But you are here, aren't you? Paul. Yes, Leela, I am. And all you need, all you've asked for, all you've been waiting for, is right in your hand. Leela. My hand? I don't see anything. Paul. It isn't what you see, Leela. It's what you feel. What you feel in your heart, in your spirit, Leela. Trust what you can see, but believe what you can't. Make it grow. Water it every day. Trust it. Understand it. Develop it. Complete it with all you have in your heart, Leela. Be prepared for what you have in your hand. It will carry you through the rest of your journey. Leela. What do I have? Paul. Your life. Your faith. Write, Leela. Write it down. Your heart, mind, spirit, and soul will guide your hand. It will start you on a journey that once started must be followed through. True. By you. While this gift is only for you, your sisters will share in your knowledge and understanding, because it is willed so. So don't treat this lightly, for you have a long road ahead. Leela. Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you. Paul. It is not for me to be thanked. I am only a messenger. Leela. If I need you again? Paul. You won't. You have everything already. You just have to hold fast to it. Leela. Thank you. Thank you. Emily. Leela. Leela. Come on, Leela. What's the holdup? Dinner's getting cold. Leela. I'll be there in a minute. Paul? Leela. That's funny. Sarah. What is? Leela. Paul, he's gone. Emily. Who? Leela. Paul, the man Sarah brought back with her. Sarah. Me? Honey, are you feeling all right? The only thing I brought home with me was a headache. Leela. But Sarah. Emily, you remember, don't you? Emily. Sure I do, dear. Why don't you go upstairs and I'll bring you up something to eat? Sarah. I told you, Emily, I don't think she's feeling well, my baby sister. Leela. But a man was here. He came with Sarah after I was run over in the street on my way home from work this afternoon. Sarah. Honey, how about you sit down in this chair? Emily, go bring her some water. Leela. Maybe I am a little tired, but I know what just happened. I'm not making this up. Sarah. Sure you're not, darling. Emily. Sarah? Sarah? Come here a minute. Sarah. Sure thing. You just stay here, honey. Sarah. What is it, Emily? Emily. Do you see what I see? Sarah. And I don't believe it. There's a star above our window. Emily. Yes, and it's shining right upon us, like a spotlight. What do you think that means? Sarah. I don't know, but I feel a change is on the horizon. Emily. Maybe Leela saw someone after all. Leela. And so ends the tale of the beginning of my story. This has been a very unique production. So that's the end of A Story of Hope. I hope you guys enjoyed the read. I hope you guys enjoyed the coffee break on me. We'll see you back here on Friday where we will showcase the second garment as well as have a bit of a actual cinema coffee and cinema, as that will be our whole topic of conversation about what makes a film a coffee film, what makes a film cinema coffee. So join me this Friday and we'll also do a coffee talk on the Laughing Man coffee. Be safe out there, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. Be safe, be well, stay healthy, stay smart, stay home, and I'll see you on Friday. Au revoir.
By the way, how is your father?
But I want to know, does it bother you?